we are up on a volcano, and this volcano today is still active. On the one side is the beauty of the area because the soil and the ecosystem that it creates is very unique, but on the other side is something that is alive, and it's really something that we have to think about. You have to consider that the last eruption, it happens in the beginning of the 2000s. You can see how the lava still flow today and reach not only the vineyard, but also the village where people live.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today I'm delighted to continue a special sub-series that highlights the winners of the prestigious 5-star wines and Wine Without Walls competition that took place in April just prior to Vinitaly 2024. Those wines that scored more than 90 points were awarded certificates and have been included in the 5-star Wines and Wine Without Walls 2025 book, while the very best wines in each category were singled out for special awards. Today we travel to the northern slopes of Mount Etna in Sicily to meet my guest, Amedeo Moretti of Animaetnea, a wine estate that won a very special award in the Wine Without Walls category for the best organic white wine for its Etna DOC Bianco Vino Biologico Anima Lucente 2000 in 2022, which gained 95 points. Many congratulations, Amedeo. Thank you for being my guest. And how are you? Is it a beautiful day?
Thank you so much. I'm very happy and proud to be here to talk with you about the beauty that we have up in the Etna. So I'm very excited to be here and to explore together the area where we produce this amazing wine. And also thank you so much for the awards. It's a great thankful from me, but also from the whole team.
Yes, I can imagine it's a very much a team effort, and it's a very important award. I know how rigorous of the Wine Without Walls. I was a judge this year, and there are many, many discussions, and the top wines then get retasted again by the head panel. So it's a great achievement.
And so many great wines.
So many great wines.
Yes.
The standard was very, very high.
Very high. And
across the board this year.
I know because I know many of those wines, so I'm really happy.
Sure. Now, Amedeo, you're involved with 5 different wineries,
Exactly.
But we'll focus today on Animaetnea and in particular on this award-winning wine. But first of all, for our listeners who may not have been to Etna, may not have even been to Sicily, you're the Animaetnea winery on the north face of the volcano at Santo Stefano and Passo Pisciaro.
Exactly.
It's quite a unique place and a unique environment. Can you describe Etna as a place to cultivate grapes and make wine? What makes it so challenging and so special?
Yeah, sure. So just to give you an idea about where we are, the vines are located around 600 and 800 meters above the sea level. And we're actually located on the north side of Etna. The area is called Passo Pisciaro. Just to give you an idea for those who might know Taormina, which is quite popular, it's about 50 minutes from Taormina. What made special this area? When we talk about vineyards and producing wine in Etna, the first thing that I also was impressed, because this is the main reason why we got up there and we fall immediately in love with the area. When we talk about Etna, we see how beautiful and also dangerous and challenging is the area, the soil that we are planting vines. And this is also the reason why we call it heroic viticulture, because the area itself, it's kind of really dangerous, we can say like this. First of all, because we are up on a volcano, and this volcano today is still active. So there are eruptions, there is a lot of smoke, And itself, the volcano is a real danger. And on the one side is the beauty of the area, because the soil and the ecosystem that it creates is very unique. But on the other side is something that is alive, and it's really something that we have to think about it. You have to consider that the last eruption, which was actually very it was very bad for the area. It happens in the beginning of the 2000s. So the lava really reached almost our vineyards. And we can see the result now, where we have all these lava flows that, of course, now is a rock. But you can see how like the lava still flow today and reach not only the vineyard, but also the village where people live. So on the one side, we have this aspect that is very important, and we really have to think about every day. On the other aspect is the fact that the vines are located mainly on terraces. And these terraces might be very steep. So all the process on the vineyard, they must be made by hands. There is absolutely no way to have any modern machine or any technique that can help us to make this process in a kind of more, like everything has to be by hands. So you can you imagine during harvest, like there is a lot of people that they need to carry like the grape on their back on big ceste. How do you say ceste in English?
Baskets.
Yeah, on big basket, exactly. And they have to bring it like up and down to these small terraces. And also like the sesto d'impianto, which in Italian means the distance of each vine between the line of the vineyard and each plant, is very, very narrow, very like the distance is very short. You have to think that when we talk about Etna, the distance between the plant is, if you're lucky, 1 meters, maybe 1.5. Comparing, just to give an example, in Tuscany, which is 2 meters by zero point 0.9. So here in Tuscany, for example, we have space for tractor that can get in the vineyards. So all the kind of treatment, we can be much more fast. And if we have like a fungus coming or anything, we can do treatment pretty fast. Up there, everything has to be again made by hand. So really the person who work in the vineyards are eroi. That's why we call it heroic viticulture. So the first impression that you see once you get up there is the color of the soil. You will notice that the soil is mainly gray and black. This is because of the high percentage of iron, of mineral that are present in the lava. So this makes very special the soil, and of course the wine that we will get from the vines.
Let me just pick up on this for our listeners. I want to emphasize what you're saying about heroic viticulture, because I think, the term heroic viticulture is used for many, many areas. And indeed, the labor intensive nature of working vines in the Valle d'Aosta, in the Alps, or in the Cinque Terre is an heroic effort. But I think the term takes on new meaning on Mount Etna, where, as you say, you have the labor intensive steep slopes, the high altitude, the ancient vines, but also this ever-present danger. I was on Etna a few years ago when it was erupting, and of course it was raining like black grit. And, really, you cannot underestimate the power of the volcano and the benefits it brings, but also the danger. So this is truly heroic viticulture in the greatest sense. Now let's talk about those vines that you're talking about, the training. Is that the ancient Albarello Etnea system?
Exactly.
Can you explain what that is, Amedeo?
Exactly. So the area is also very special because it's one of the very rare area where we still have Prephyloxera vines. That means that the vines are piedefranco, so it's original, like the entire plant is the original one since more than 120 years. We have a vine that was planted at the beginning of 19th century, and we still have it. It's a very small parcel, it's rather less than 1 hectare, and it's so beautiful because most of the plants there are very, very old. We define as like ancient vines. And they're very, very beautiful. And as I said before, the plantation system is very, very narrow. This is because we don't want to lose anything of the potential soil that we plants, so especially back in time. So each plant is very narrow to the other. And actually, the system originally was alberello bush, but nowadays, since so many years have passed and the plants have grown, so over the years, the plant like grow a little bit bigger, and today is like a mix between Guyot and alberello bush. So if you see it, it's a bit more wild than a alberello bush. It got like the branch got a little spread out a little bit and got wider, but they still go from the soil to the sky, I would say, but they make it like a little bit wider shape than a typical narrow alberello bush. And this is the beauty because, of course, the branches are very wide and thick. And what is also very special is that the yield per hectare of these old vines is very, very low. We can get roughly 30 to 35 tons of grape per hectare, which is very, very low compared to an average of 10 or even maybe 12 of a much younger vine. So just to give you an idea, every plant, like we can reach a maximum 4 or 5 cluster each plant, which is a great concentration, but also a great elegance and finesse on the fruits.
Okay, so we've got these old vines, the volcanic soil, and also a high altitude.
Exactly.
600.
We have vineyards planted between 600 up to 800
Yeah.
meters above the sea level.
Okay.
So this really helps for the freshness, for the acidity. It's like very beneficial for the grape.
Okay, well, let's now turn our attention to the wine that won the award, Animaetnea, and about a white wine in Etna. I think Etna Bianco is less well known to some of us outside of Italy because there's less of it available. But tell us what's very special about this wine.
So, first of all, I have to say that we mainly produce red wine, frankly speaking. So, the white wine for us is a great passion, but it's only a production of a few thousand bottles. For example, Anima Lucente 2022 was slightly more than 2,000 bottles, and is mainly produced with Caricante and Minella grape, which is actually the variety that is very autochthon, very special and characteristic of the area, especially Minella. So it's a blend of 85 Caricante and 15% Minella. It actually comes from younger vines because we didn't have very old vines of Caricante and Minella in the property, but we really noticed the potentiality and the beauty of the variety, especially in the Etna. So we decided since 5 vintages, so this is the 2022 is the 5th vintage, to produce and to see what was going on with this white variety. And we found like an unbelievable, beautiful white wine because like the expression of these sulfuric notes and of course the minerality and the sapidity, this whetstone aromas, it's very important because it's the typical characteristic of the soil. And at the beginning, we really didn't want to cover the aromas of the variety. So we decided to put a little bit of wood on the aging, especially with the barrique, but with second and third passage in order to be like very delicate. But in the 2022, we reduced a lot the presence of the wood just to give the importance of the variety. So to have like a fresh, floral, beautiful wine that was representing the area.
Okay, that's a beautiful description. Now, that wine would also have that streak of acidity that's so characteristic from the Caricante, which also enables it to age for long periods.
Exactly. This is another aspect that back in time, the aging of Caricante and Minella was undervalued. So back in time, we considered Caricante and Minella not such good as an aging wine. But now, like especially in this area, what is very important and something interesting is this: like Passo Pisciaro is very well known as a very good area for red wine, especially Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio. But actually, most of the producers like us, but so many other great producers around us, they see and they're noticing how interesting the white wine are. Just to give you an idea, we are now planting 2 more hectares of white grape of Caricante and Minella because of this. So it's interesting how also the area is evolving and changing seeing the potentiality of the white wine, because usually the north area of Etna is more known for red wine, and the east area is more for white wine. But now a lot of producers are investing and considering the white wine as a very good and potentiality wine in the north side of Etna.
Okay, that's an important point for our listeners as well, to understand the contrade of Etna and how from the north to the east to the southwest, the character changes, the wines change, and there's a great influence from where the vines have actually been grown. Let's turn then to Anima Ardente, to your Etna Rosso. Tell us about this.
Okay, so, well, actually, it's we produce two wine, which one is Anima Antica and Anima Ardente. So the funny thing is we called it just start from the name, which anima in Italian means soul. So once we got up there, we were fascinating and we fall in love with the Etna and with his soul that moves and create everything. So Animaetnea means soul of the Etna, and we name all our wines with the word anima. Anima Lucente, the white wine that got the award, for example, it represents the beautiful side of brightness of the lava, because we have to consider that in winter it's an area not in our vineyard but more in the high altitude. It snows, so there is also like a climate change, temperature change, sorry, during winter, which impact a lot the vines. And with Anima Ardente, which is our red wine, made in Nerello Mascalese, we want to represent the Ardente means burning, so the power and the intensity of the volcano on the red grape. Anima Ardente come from our vines that are around 40 and 50 years old, so already like vines that have a huge history for us. And it's a still small production, because overall we only have 9 hectares. The property is quite small, but very good position, especially in the area of Santo Spirito, Contrada Santo Spirito. And Anima Ardente is our most, I would say that it's our most, the biggest volume of wine that we produce, because we reach 8,000 bottles compared to the 2,000 of the white one. And we age it a little bit in barrique and tonneau, so it's a mix of the two wood. And it's actually the first wine that we have been producing since 2014. So it's already 10 years of history of our winery in the Etna. And I think it's the wine that represents us the most, because it's the one that we produce since the beginning. And it's Nerello Mascalese, so it's the identity of what we have in the property in the States.
Just to explain to our listeners who may not have encountered Etna Rosso, which is emerged, this is one of the most ancient wine growing lands in the world. Vines have been grown on Etna for 3,000 years, maybe longer, who knows.
Exactly.
But Etna itself, as a quality wine region, has been reborn and rediscovered relatively recently, in the last 20, 25 years. But describe the beauty of an Etna Rosso, what it has. You know, we think of the great wines of Italy, Barolo or Brunello di Montalcino, and Etna stands at this level.
So what makes the wine very special? The first thing is that they are immediately recognizable. If you ever happen that you do like a tasting among like so many different wines from all over the world, you are able to immediately recognize a red wine from Etna. Why? It's just to give you an idea, it's mainly compared to a Pinot Noir, just to give you an idea for those who have never tasted and maybe they know much better a Pinot Noir. So the elegance on the palate is compared to Pinot Noir, but the aromas and the intensity and the powerful of the wine are much more intense and more present.
Okay.
So you have the strength, but at the same time elegance at the same time, which makes it like very special. And of course, the presence of the volcano makes like the wine very mineral, a great sapidity, but also you have this background, beautiful background of sulfurous, of iron, of all the substance that the lava brings up from the eruption. And this makes it like very special and very, even like the aroma, the flower aromas, they're never like too bright. It reminds more violet, more dark fruits. It's a beautiful mix that really sometimes like they change also from every vintages. Like what is also very interesting, like that every vintage is so different, even in terms of aromas, of palate. This is also the beauty of it. It's very rare that you have like a common stable wine. I mean, also, I'm talking especially of my estate and what I see over the years. So this is also another aspect that makes the area very interesting.
I think you're describing both the white and the red Atlas wines that have great elegance, but also this power and energy that comes from the volcano.
Exactly, yeah.
Amedeo, can we turn now to food and wine, to the cuisine of Eastern Sicily, but also to possibly other cuisines, foods that you think are really pair well with either anima lucente or anima ardente?
Okay, so considering that are Sicilian wines, so they basically were matching with the local food, talking about in the area. For the white wine in Sicily, of course, is an island, so it's facing the Mediterranean, and the fish is I would say, main meal, main dish. You can find it like very easy, you can find it everywhere. So every time I think about my white wine, especially if I'm Sicily, I always like to eat with the crudo or carpaccio of fish, and also like the beautiful pasta alle sarde, which is very typical of the area. So it's a Sardinian pasta, which is actually the sauce is so good because it has like a wide fennel seed, pine nuts, dry grapes, which is like very typical Sicilian. So I would match like a white wine, thinking about the Sicilian food with all that is linked to the fish. But also like with the beautiful fried fish or fried vegetables. I love to have it like with everything that is fried. For example, now is a beautiful period of mushrooms, porcini mushrooms. Etna is an amazing area of porcini mushrooms. So we have like this great fried porcini mushroom or fried zucchini or fried eggplants, which matches beautiful with white wine. And it's also like very typical in Sicily.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I would say that all the main like first course that is linked to pasta is perfect to pair it with a white wine, unless you have like a ragu or you have more like salty or sapidity sauce. Then I would already turn on anima ardente, which I think is already it's a better match because you need like a more consistent wine and also more tannins. Anima ardente would pair it with everything that has meat or beef, or even like if I'm thinking about a special sauce that is like a caciuc, which is a typical fish that we do in Tuscany, but there is also a very similar plate in Sicily where you have like fish cooked with a special sauce of tomato and onions. This is also like very good to have fish with anima ardente.
Okay.
And just a funny thing, I know maybe it might sound a little bit weird, but in the local culture, there is a lot of rabbits. So in Etna, there is like this culture of having rabbit as a second meal, and they use a lot to drink anima ardente. I know it sounds weird sometimes, but it's funny to mention the local culture because it's part of the area.
No, absolutely. And how is that rabbit prepared?
It's prepared in a very refined way because it's a oven cooked with oil, olives, and capers. I had it twice in this way. Or it cooked in a big pan with a tomato sauce.
Oh.
You don't really recognize you don't see it's a rabbit because like the meat is it's cut in kind of little slices. But it's very, very tasty and very delicate. It reminds chicken.
Oh, okay. And beautiful pork from the Nebrodi Mountains as well.
Of course, beautiful, exactly. Also,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
The neighborhood pork.
Beautiful with the anima ardente.
Exactly, will match perfectly.
Okay. Well, final question, Amedeo. Tell us about wine hospitality at Animaetnea.
Sure.
Can our
Yeah.
listeners who will be inspired to visit, having listened to your beautiful descriptions, can they visit?
They can visit, they can come. We have like a beautiful area where we can have a tasting, and also we can organize a lunch or a dinner if we can book in advance. And what is very nice that we will walk through the vineyards, so we will see the ancient Vigna Antica, the one who's pre-Filosofo and is 150 years old, and we will walk through the beautiful terraces that are planted around 800 meters, and they're so beautiful. And after that, we can have a tasting on our tasting house.
That sounds absolutely perfect. That's the way to experience what Etna has. You must feel it, you must walk it, you must pick up the soil in your hand and smell it,
Exactly.
and then you can understand this unique, utterly unique environment. Amedeo, you've taken us to Etna this morning. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations again for this fabulous award as the best organic white wine for Anima Lucente. And thank you for explaining and taking us to your world. So I hope you have a very successful harvest this year, not only at Animaetnea, but at the other properties as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're working hard now. We are harvesting in almost every wine estate, so we're very busy. But I'm happy to welcome you soon in Animaetnea and see you soon to taste together the wines and see the beautiful area.
Great. Well, I will definitely try to come down and see you as soon as I can. Grazie mille.
Ciao, grazie a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao, grazie, ciao.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.